Hey Hot Garbage Squad, it's Foxy here with a new video. We will talk about the Steel Fortress team today and how I will speed clear it. So this first half of this video will be talking about the speed clear, and it's definitely not for new or mid-game players. However, I do have safer options in the later half of this video if you are interested. So again, this first half of the video is definitely for the later late game players and the mid game people transitioning to late game. I want to speed clear this dungeon. I do want to say this dungeon, here are my monsters. You look at the runes. I do want to say though, this dungeon definitely has a lot of RNG because you are going through so many resistance checks on your monsters to land the the skill here where you can block beneficial effects. So the reason why I have a zinc here, I would definitely say zinc is number one in this team. The speed tuning is zinc goes first for his third skill, followed by, I can just manually show you. So zinc should do this third skill, his smart AI. And the reason why Aegir goes next is because it sets up the attack buff for the Pumbek. If your Pumbek is weak, that is fine. However, if it's powerful, you won't even need attack buff to clear this. If it's weak, the attack buff will help you clear it. However, we all know that the vampire AI is very bad, so keep that in mind. This team is roughly 1 minute, and I've tested many variations on my monsters and runes. I've tested Swift Agar, I've tested shield units here, I tested Double Will Crow, tested Swift Lauren versus Violent Lauren, and I've got to say this is my best variation with the runes and the teams. And the reason is because this team, as you can see here, you need to land the beneficial block in order for these two skills here to not destroy you. Once you get past that, your crow should be able to nuke it down and do tons of damage here. And that's the reason why I thought maybe double will would be good. For those people who are running a very nuke heavy crow with no speed, double will could be something you can explore because you may not get the turn, and if the boss stuns you, you are pretty much donezo. So you will see the fastest time I've got is roughly 35 seconds, and that is getting really good RNG here. So I'll go through more auto runs so I can describe to you how this team works and what I've noticed here. So if your Pumbek does not use third skill here, then it gets a little bit slower. We can't always count on good RNG, and there will be times where Pumbek will use second or first skill and opt not to use third skill. Or sometimes maybe the AI messes up and you don't get the attack buff and you don't clear it, and then the turn's all wrong here. But I like see what I mean here. Pumbek didn't use third skill, and then now you're in for a rough time. And that's why I put high resistance on some of my support monsters, like the Fran, like the Zinc. It had high resistance because I don't want it getting stunned. If I get stunned, I'll lose the cooldown to get my beneficial skill back. Right here, if I get stunned and I don't have the ability to land the skill, that is tough. And I do want to say, before we go further, the turn order is Zinc to use third skill, and then Agar uses third skill or second skill. So Lauren should go after third because we have one chance with Zinc to land the beneficial defect. Then we have Agar with the second skill to land the beneficial defect. So that's the reason why Lauren goes third in the team, because if Lauren goes first on the team, it triggers the shields and the defense buff, right? And then your beneficial block, sure, it blocks it, but it's already up. So it's just basically saving Lauren's skill 2, the strip, for in the scenario that maybe your Agar and your Zinc messes up. So once again, I've tested this for at least like 3 refills. I failed maybe once or twice. And then I think there are some really bad RNG sometimes where you will literally miss every skill. And if you miss every skill, you're probably just going to fail. And I just think it's just the nature of this dungeon where you are literally relying on RNG and accuracy check and resistance checks in order for you to successfully beat it. So I'm not 100% sure what is the minimum accuracy right now, but I believe it's roughly around the 60% mark for accuracy for this dungeon. Because I know the mid boss has some insane resistance checks for B10 and B12 dungeons now. but we'll have to wait for the data mined information before we can really determine that. So here you see none of my monsters used their beneficial D block, and now the run will definitely be slower and there's a chance I can lose. It will have to depend how the RNG stuns land. If he stuns your whole team, you're pretty much donezo multiple times here. The Pumbek is the fourth monster to land the strip or the beneficial block after the Lauren. So we have three chances to land beneficial block and 2 chances to strip here. So a lot of RNG checks, and you know, not everyone has Pumbek, and we'll talk about the other option with Pumbek now. Okay, as you see, the Pumbek kind of is very similar to the Lucian, helps you clear the trash wave and makes it run faster. And I have tested the next monster. It is the Arjun. So the reason why I picked Arjun is because of this skill. This skill provides the beneficial block, very similar to Aegir. So I moved my Pumbek runes over to my Arjun because that's where it originally was. And the speed tuning on this team is a little bit different, and I'll show you what I mean during the boss. This is the more free-to-play options, but the question is, how many vampire skill ups do you really have, right? Probably not a lot. So it might be a little bit challenging, and the reason why you do need skill ups is because you want to cycle the turn 2 and have the cooldown reduced, because that skill is so important. Like, blocking beneficial defects is this dungeon, and I think it's so important. A lot of people have suggested to use Brig or like Pang, but I don't have those available, so I haven't tried it. And honestly, I looked at their kit, Brig especially, I wasn't too keen on it, but I'm going to show you what I mean with this team and turn ordering here with Arjun. I did test it. It's definitely slower, but the reason why I'm manualing is because I want to show you what the difference is in the boss compared to Pumbek, because Pumbek is really good with the second skill and the third skill for the trash wave, but outside of that, Pumbek doesn't offer too much on the boss in terms of damage. Arjun definitely provides more damage, but does not clear the trash wave very fast. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, but overall, Pumbek is definitely better. So again, turn order is Zinc, followed by the Arjun. Just in case it doesn't land this, then there's a chance the AI uses Weaken, but I don't even know how the AI works here. The vampire AIs are, they're terrible. Like, they are super bad. And the reason why this goes after the Lauren is because it's almost like remember my explanation before where you want the beneficial defects to go before Lauren so that Lauren can land a defense break or strip it afterwards if it's still up. Well, it's almost impossible, or for a lot of people, it would be very stupid for you to speed tune your Arjun to go before your Lauren, because this skill is a fat nuke. So it'd be really difficult to ruin your fat nuke with tons of damage, but also speed to go before the Lauren. So that is the reason why I put the Arjun to go after the Lauren. Very like, there's different reasons than Pumbek, but that's the reason why Arjun. I'll show you some autos to show you the exact speed on this team, but once again, these are the runes. I have to put this on Violent. I found the most success on Violent because the AI is so bad, and you just need to bond proc into the Weaken sometimes for more consistency. It's pretty tanky on slot 6 HP. It's on a crit damage build because it just needs to do a little bit more damage, but honestly, a lot of you guys can just run support Agar if you want. You don't need damage on it. The Crow is the beast. This skill does so much. Scarred is tons of damage. You don't need accuracy. I would suggest to put around the 170 speed mark. That way you actually get a turn and the boss doesn't cut you, and therefore you don't need will. Okay? And again, this is the Arjun, my Pumbek runes. You definitely need the accuracy because, again, of this skill, you want to land a beneficial block. The Zinc is also on Violent. Accuracy slot 6 to have high accuracy for the skill here. Slot 2 can be crit damage, defense. It's a defense-based monster, so if The reason why I put HP here is because this rune's fast and its accuracy, but this monster just needs to live. It doesn't need to do damage. If it does damage, fantastic. If it doesn't, not end the world. And this is the Lauren. Again, this Lauren is on a support type build. It just needs to be speed tuned and with high accuracy and just needs to live. The key monsters for DPS is your Crow and your Arjun / Pumbek. So these are the two teams that I've tested extensively in the last day or so, especially on stream. If you haven't already followed, my Twitch is in the below in the description. Make sure you drop a follow to know when I go live, or join the Discord to know when I go live as well. So you will see here the trash waves pretty slow, right? Because there's no Pumbek. However, the mid boss can be fast because we have two big fat nukes from the Arjun and the Crow, but again, the trash waves are pretty slow, and to be quite frank, Arjun's first skill doesn't do that much damage. His third skill is the big fat nuke, and the second skill it's okay damage, but it's nothing really compared to Crow, because Crow's second skill also turn cycles a team member, right? So here we go, we missed that skill and we missed it again. So here, pretty terrible right now, right? And then Arjun lands the third check. It took 3 checks for skills to get through based off RNG. And then we have the Lauren to land defense breaks. And you can see right now, my team is pretty much stunned. It's not getting turns. The Agar is there to provide some form of sustain when I leech life. And that's why I really don't need the Fran here if you're trying to speed clear. After this, I will show you with the Fran variation, or talk about it actually. I'll talk about it because I think you guys kind of get the idea how this dungeon runs. You see, I have 2 damage dealers, right? So for a more safe and safe run, what I would do is I would leave the Zinc, leave the Lauren, leave the Agar, I replace the Arjun, and I go for the immunity. The Crow is the massive damage, and you cannot replace the Crow. So this would be my Fran here. My Fran is on a fight set, but a lot of you guys can just put like a balance set to turn cycle to more heals if you need that. My team here, I don't think I need it. So Arjun is basically, Agar is there for the attack leader skill, and if Fran doesn't have a cooldown or it derps, you have another attack buff for Crow to nuke. So this is definitely a safer option. And again, I don't have Chiwu, so I cannot talk about Chiwu, but Chiwu has 2 skills that counters this boss. So if you have a Chiwu, definitely implement it in your teams in some way. But you'll definitely see here, it's a lot safer, especially if your monsters are slow and they get cut in and the trash wave stuns you. So there is a gap sometimes with the immunity, and that's why Violent would be really good here. And the fight set is definitely a premium. I don't think fight is even that optimal, to be quite frank with you, because I only have 1 damage dealer, right? So I think the extra violent proc or sustain from the violent proc with immunity is much more valuable. So I would test that out, just because I don't use this team, because it's a little bit slower, as you can definitely tell. So I can't give you too much on it, but it's definitely a lot safer here. And when you only have 1 damage dealer from the Crow, you do need to keep it alive, and that's why it's important to turn cycle and make sure that it stays healthy with the Fran Bond procking and healing. And you can see right now my Crow is stunned. It's not really doing anything right now, and there's a billion buffs here, and even if Crow goes for a big Scar nuke, he has a defense buff and a shield. So this team definitely is safer, but there's less damage output here, right? So this would be this team in a nutshell. So make sure if your Crow is dying, take some damage off and put more health in it. I haven't tested Violent Crow because I feel that a Rage or a Fatal or just a Nuke Crow would be that much more powerful, because he's your sole damage dealer, and he can like literally just trash this boss from half HP with Scar if you have the right setup. Anyways, hope you guys learned something. If you did, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe.